Scott here from Sweet Devil Culinary, just trying to give you guys some tips and tricks on ways you can make multiple meals with one ingredient. Obviously it's been a little struggle to get ingredients, so with what we have in our house, this is what we're making today. And I've taken ground turkey, or if any other kind of ground meat you guys have, and I've decided to make 3 meals out of it. I'm going to show you 2 of those right now. We are going to make a homemade tortellini with our wonton wrappers that we also have. These are made of all-purpose flour, so even though they are typically used in an Asian ingredient, they can be used in any other kind of cuisine, being they are all-purpose flour. And then we're also going to make some meatballs later on. So what we do for the tortellini is we take our wonton, we lay it down in a diamond shape, and we have our mixture that you saw in the video earlier that we've cooked together, and we're going to put a spoonful of that right in the middle. You're going to get a little bit of moisture on the edges of the pasta sheet. And we want to fold it over into a triangle, and the key is to push out all the air that's around that filling. You don't want any air in there. Any air that will remain will make it explode when we go to cook it later. So I've sealed all the edges into a triangle shape, and when I get to that point I wrap this around the back, add a little bit more moisture, and then we have a large tortellini. I have a sheet here with a little bit of flour. That's going to help those from sticking. We're going to make a whole sheet. Make sure that it has a little bit of flour, and we can save these for later in the refrigerator. Or if you're ready to eat now, you can cook them right away. We'll try one more. Again, filling right in the center. Try to keep it all right in the middle. We want to get a little bit of moisture on the edge of the wrapper. And we want to fold it over into a triangle, corner to corner, and push out all the air around the filling while we seal the sides. Again, that comes up into a triangle. We wrap these around, add a little bit more moisture, and just add it to our tray. All right? And then with the other half of that meat that we have, I've taken that, you saw it earlier in the video as well, and we've added a little bit of dried sourdough bread, garlic, and green onions, and our seasoning, salt, pepper, Italian spice, red pepper flake, and basil. And again, I use a spoon to make it easy. Grab a nice heaping mouthful, and I like to press it together in my hands a little bit and then roll it between my palms until it's nice and tight. We don't want to go too tight because we don't want it to be a very tough piece of meat when we go to cook later. But with that sourdough and the garlic and everything in there, as long as you don't pack it too tight, you have a nice sized meatball. I'm adding them to a tray, and those will be again for cooking later, or again if you're ready you can cook them off right now. What I like to do is saute them a little bit in a pan with olive oil, and then I'll put that whole pan in the oven to finish at 350. Alright, so just a little example of what you can do with 2 recipes right now with ground turkey, any kind of ground meat that you guys have in your house, and we'll be back later on, we'll add some more recipes with the same meat. Thank you. Hey guys, Chef Scott here, just making one of my favorite meals. So what we've done today, earlier in the video, you saw we've made our meatball mixture. We formed them, we put them in the refrigerator to cook them for tonight. We have our sauce that we made a couple days ago that we reserved, that we use for a couple different meals. Pasta water going that we have also for the tortellini that we made earlier in the video. So we'll be cooking those off tonight. So what I want to do is start by putting the meatballs in a pan, hot cast iron pan, a little bit of cooking oil. Nice and hot so we get a sizzle on those. We want a nice crunch on the outside and a nice soft meat through the center. So we just want to get a good sear on these, and we can finish them in the oven. Alright, and while these are in, we're going to go back over to our cutting board and make one of my favorite recipes that go along with Italian food, and that's garlic bread. Okay? So earlier today I took a little bit of olive oil and sauteed some garlic. I confit it in the oil and made a garlic infused oil. So we're going to take a little bit of that and just drizzle it over our bread. And then we're going to take a little bit of butter as well, just to bring a little extra element of sweetness. And it'll give the bread some nice color in the oven. And then what we also want to do is, when I made the garlic earlier today, I reserved some of the actual garlic that was confit. And so I like to take some of that and get that onto the bread itself.
And this will soften up even more. And the best part about garlic, when you cook it this way, when you confit it, is it becomes sweet and not bitter. So we have these sweet pieces of garlic that are going to melt right on here when we toast this up in the oven. All right. And we just want to make sure we have everything on here. I like to give it just a little sprinkle of salt, a little sprinkle of pepper, and then we're going to get this into the oven. That's at about 425 degrees. We'll check that in about 5 minutes. In the meantime, we want to make sure that our meatballs are getting a nice color. And we want to roll those around in the pan. Nice golden brown on each side. You can see the crunch there. And that's why earlier in the video we talked about that I added some sourdough bread in here, basil and garlic. And that's why I like having that bread in there. It'll keep it moist and help it from getting too tough. It'll stay nice and spongy. Okay. So these will take about 2-3 minutes on each side. They could be completely cooked in the pan if you want, but being I have the oven on for the garlic bread, I'll throw those and finish them in there. And when we're all done, we'll have meatballs, tortellini, with some fresh garlic bread and fresh marinara sauce. Thanks, guys.